What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of 68 Shining Moments presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Today, I had a chance to talk with Steve Merfeld of Hampton University, the man behind the most famous hug in college basketball history. Welcome back to another edition of the 68 Shining Moments. My name is Rob Doster, part of the Field of 68 Media Network. I am excited to be joined today by a member of Creighton's coaching staff and the former Hampton head coach, Steve Merfeld. Steve, how you doing? Thanks for being with us today.
Great to be here and looking forward to visiting with you.
So we have you on because of the upset that your Hampton team pulled over number 2 seed Iowa State in 2001. And there's plenty I want to get into about the game itself. But first, I have to ask you this. The picture of you getting picked up with your arms in the air and your feet in the air by, I believe it was David Johnson, is maybe the most iconic image when it comes to kind of the darlings of the NCAA tournament and March Madness and Cinderellas and all that. So I'm curious, like, what is it like to know that image of you is going to live on forever? Every March, we are going to see that clip, see that picture, see that video. What is that like?
In a lot of ways, it seems like it was yesterday, but in a lot of ways, it seems like it was 25 years ago. Obviously a great moment for Hampton University. The crazy thing about that whole deal, Rob, is I remember none of it. It was like I was in a different world and absolutely remember nothing other than you mentioned David Johnson. I can remember David Johnson like it was yesterday saying, "I got you, coach. I got you, coach. I got you, coach." But other than that, I don't. Some people thought I was going to do a cartwheel. I couldn't do a cartwheel to save my life.
So when he picks you up like that, what's going through your mind?
I don't remember. I honestly, I don't remember anything. I remember, obviously I remember Tarvis Williams making the shot and then Tinsley dribbling down through the middle of our defense and Tarvis meeting him at the rim and the ball bouncing off. And at the time, the horn at the arena at Boise State was not working, so they were using one of those foghorn type things. And I can remember that going off. And after that, I don't remember anything until, like I said, I can remember David saying that to me, but I don't know where I was or what I was doing.
That's great. That's great. All right. So when you see that picture and when you see that highlight, what is going through your head? What's going through your mind? Like, what are the memories that you feel and the feelings that you feel when you see this pop up?
Well, obviously very, very special, to take a team like Hampton University and pull an upset like that, was very special and a credit to our guys for sure. But yeah, it's heartwarming, to see it. And as you mentioned, every year CBS seems to put it back in there, which certainly brings back good memories. I actually got a text from Tommy Adams, one of the guards on that team last night, talking about there was something that somebody sent him, as tournament time comes. So great moments for all of us.
So let's go back to before the tournament actually happens, before the game is played. The bracket is announced. You guys draw Iowa State in, I believe it was Boise, Idaho. So you're going to have to fly all the way across the country from Hampton to Boise. What's going through your mind when that bracket gets released? Are you like, all right, we're in the tournament? It's like, man, we got to go to Boise.
I'd say the first thing was we were totally excited to be in the NCAA tournament. It was the first time Hampton University had been there. We didn't care where we were going, how we were going to get there. It was just a matter we were in the tournament. As the week went on and as we got videotape of Iowa State, I believe Baylor upset them in the quarterfinals of the Big 12 tournament at that time. And as we watched the tape, we had a really good feeling that we could beat them. And we had a very confident group. I mean, we went on and beat them and then lost to Georgetown the next 2 days later. I'm telling you, our guys thought that they were going to beat Georgetown too. They were that confident of a group. So to answer your question, as the week was leading up, we didn't feel overwhelmed by the matchup. Obviously, Iowa State was, one of the top teams in the country and they had played great all year, but there was just something missing at that time of the season for them. And, every team has a period where they're not playing their greatest. And it was Iowa State at that time, and we were fortunate enough to get that draw.
So I've seen you mention that in a number of interviews that you guys were really confident and thought that you could go out and win that game. Is that just, a byproduct of the competitiveness? Was that specific group? Was it because you knew that, you had a certain level of talent on that roster? What was it about that team in particular that made you think it's like, okay, we can go get this done?
Well, they just totally believed, that they were going to do that. I mean, we had some good non-conference wins along the way. We played very, very well in conference play. We had a couple of fifth-year seniors on that team that had been through it. LaShawn Howard started out at Syracuse. Marseille Brown started out at Richmond. Both had played in the NCAA tournament. And there was just a feeling that confident that, and as I get older and observe college basketball and watch, this game is played so much on a confidence level, and especially with this generation, allowing them to have that confidence and to bring out that confidence is so important. And we were feeling that at that time.
So you guys were up at the half. You played really well in the first half. Iowa State jumps all over you at the start of the second half. I think it was a 9-0 run off the bat, and they pushed their lead to, I want to say it was 46-35 with like 11 minutes left or something like that. Was there a point when you were like, oh, man, we blew our chance. We had it, and we blew the chance?
Yeah, there definitely was. And I think it was a little later than that. I want to say it was around the 7 or 8 minute mark. We went to a triangle and 2. And it was something that we had practiced. And, obviously Tinsley was very good. And they missed some shots. We made some plays. And all of a sudden we're right back, in the thick of things. And I think that triangle and 2 caught them off guard a little bit. And, when you're down 11 with 10 to go or whatever it was, you're going to have a lot of things go your way. And we did, but we also created a lot of those things, out of the confidence and it was a very, very skilled basketball team that we had at that time.
We'll get back into that interview in a minute, guys. But before we do, let me just tell you about our partners over at DraftKings Sportsbook. With March Madness beating down our door, DraftKings is the best way for you to get a little action in on the game. If you have not downloaded the DraftKings Sportsbook app, what are you waiting for? It's the safest, it's the most secure, it's the most reliable, and it allows you to safely deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. I know, I use them. And this week, they are offering my listeners a pretty sweet deal. If you sign up now with the promo code FIELD68, you can turn $1 into $100 if one of the main event fighters in UFC 259 this weekend lands a single punch. That's it. One punch to turn $1 into $100. That's a pretty good deal if you ask me. And don't worry, if MMA is not your thing, DraftKings Sportsbook offers odds and promos on basketball, on hockey, on whatever sport it is that you are watching. But since they're basically giving away $100 free, you might as well sign up now, watch a little UFC, and remember to use the promo code FIELD68. That's FIELD68. You must be 21 years or older. Offer available for a limited time only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So I want to talk about that last baseline out of bounds play where you got Tarvis I don't even know if I would call it a jumper or a jump, just the shot to win the game. So it looked like you were it looked like you were running to get someone a shot in the corner. But there was a miscommunication at some point with Iowa State because 2 guys ran with, I forget who it was. They kind of left Tarvis all by himself. So what did you draw up? What were you looking for? And then when he got the ball, we were like, oh, wow. All right. That worked out.
The irony of the whole thing is we took a timeout. It was our last timeout, and we ran a play that we saved for that moment. And they kicked it out of bounds. So now we have no timeouts left. So we just went to our basic bread and butter play. And, this was how that team was built. You mentioned it. Cleveland Davis broke to the corner, could have jacked up a shot, might have made it, might have missed it. He passed it to Marseille Brown, who was our point guard and creator, and he didn't flinch. He got the ball where it was supposed to go in that specific set, and Tarvis rose up and made it. I mean, it was kind of amazing that both those guys, Cleveland Davis and Tarvis or Marseille Brown, just did what they were supposed to do in the heat of that moment, and that's why that team was successful. They believed in each other.
So this was definitely one of those moments where going the other way, Jamal Tinsley gets the ball, slices through everybody like you would expect an NBA point guard to be able to do, gets to the rim, lays the ball in, and it does one of those spin around things and then just kind of hung on the rim. Do Do you remember that? Like, what were you thinking when the ball was just sitting there on the rim? Were you like, please fall, please fall? Were you like trying to wave the air? Were you blowing yourself? Like, what was it?
Yeah, again, I can remember it for sure. And like I mentioned before, I remember the blowhorn going off, and this is unreal. Is my feeling. But as he got to the rim, Tarvis Williams was there to distract him. Tarvis led the nation in block shots both his junior and senior year. So I'm sure Tinsley, felt a little bit of that, but it's probably a shot. I mean, let's be honest, it's probably a shot he's going to make 8 out of 10 times. And fortunately, it rolled around, as you mentioned, and fell out, and the celebration began.
It's amazing how close some of these things are. Like, if that ball just happens to fall the other way, like how different is your life?
Right.
How different is Hampton basketball program? Like, it's a they say it's a game of inches, and that's kind of a cliche, and it's kind of annoying when that happens. But like, it's kind of a game of inches in a lot of senses.
Well, 100%, Rob, and that's I'm just very, very thankful for Hampton University and our players. As you mentioned, without having that success, I didn't play college basketball. I'm kind of an outsider in that regard. Where does my career go, from there? So 100% correct in that it is a game of inches, and sometimes you're on the good end of it, and sometimes you're on the bad end.
So I'm always curious about this, right? You pull off this amazing upset. It's an unbelievable moment. It's something that you're going to remember for your entire career. And then, you still have to go play Georgetown in like 48 hours or 46 hours or whatever it is. So at what point do you stop the celebration and start looking forward? At what point do you say, okay, that moment's gone. Now we got to keep it moving. We got to forget about what just happened. Like, I got to imagine that right there is the hardest part of pulling off an upset, because you want to be able to celebrate it.
Right.
But like, you also have to start getting ready for your next game.
Yeah, you have to enjoy it for sure. And I can remember telling our sports information director, Patricia, at that time, because, as you have an upset like that, everyone wants to talk to you. And I just said, you're going to handle all this. I want no phone calls. And she did a beautiful job of that. But I do remember one of probably my mentor from college, and like a second father to me, just said to her, no, you don't understand. I am going to get through, and I am going to talk to him. So put me through. But she did a great job of holding the media off. And, I think I went on CBS the next day or something like that. But we got focused back on Georgetown. And as I mentioned before, Rob, they thought they were going to win. And it was a very, very similar game to the Iowa State game, where we're right there. The crowd is behind us now. The place is rocking. And, about that same 8-9 minute mark, they pulled away, and we never recovered from it. But, I thought our guys played great as well. They were just so big and strong.
So I'll end it with this. How often do you get asked about this game? How often do people say, wait, you're the guy from Hampton? You're the guy that was picked up by his players? And how has this kind of changed? Has it changed anything in like your day to day when it comes to, just kind of how you go about your day?
This time of the year, for sure, because as we're doing right now, everyone wants to, hype up the tournament and make the most. And there are great moments throughout it. We, at the time, where I think we're maybe the fourth number 2 seed at that time. Now there's been more since then. Actually, there's a number 1 seed that went down. So a lot of that attention is not on me anymore. It's focused on other people, but I enjoy reliving it. Every once in a while you'll a basketball junkie will, you be introduced to somebody and they'll say, Steve Merfeld, well, where do I know that name? And all of a sudden it'll come to them and they're like, you're that guy. So yeah, it's still there. And neither of my daughter was born at the time, but not old enough to remember of it. My son was not born. So they get a kick out of their dad acting like a fool every once in a while as well.
Well, I got to say, there's worse legacies to have than, hey, you're that guy, right?
Right. No, it's part of March Madness, and certainly happy to be a part of it.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate the time. Thank you for hanging out with us. And for people that are watching this, you're actually doing this right before a game. So good luck today. Go get that win. Hope you beat Nova.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Rob.